Hello and welcome to Late Night Grace. And it certainly is late. For me, it's about 3:30 in the morning. I've been thinking of what to put next on this YouTube channel and what to talk about as regards mental health. And I've been looking at a lot of things. I got caught up in Elijah, been looking at Jeremiah, been looking at Cain and Abel, been looking at Jesus reaching out and touching people. And I thought, yes, Jesus reaching out and touching people. That is what we all need, is Jesus' touch in our life, particularly when we look at, say, the leper in Mark 1 or Luke 5 or Matthew 8. Look at the leper being touched by Jesus. Here was a man that needed healing, but the first thing Jesus did was touch him. Why? Because there was a person who had not felt human touch for an age. And finally, Jesus touches him, and it's the start of his healing, the start of his healing journey. And then we have the woman with the issue of blood who comes up to Jesus, and we see her in Matthew 9, Mark 5, and Luke 8. And again, she touches Jesus, and she makes that effort because she could have been stoned for being unclean, but instead she touches Jesus. And what is more, Jesus calls her out on it. Why? Because he wants to communicate God's love to her. He also wants to show her that God has peace to give. He tells her to go in peace. And that's a special sort of peace. It's the sort of peace Jesus had in the boat. Remember that story? When there's the storm and Jesus is resting, it's that sort of peace. So, very quickly, and having said all that, how's this work for us with mental health problems, or those of us that have those sort of issues or have had those sort of issues? Well, the truth is we've got to centre on Jesus. We've got to centre on who he is, not who we are. One problem about depression and the things that gather around it is it makes us very selfish and we can't see beyond ourselves. We saw that with Elijah, and it's true for us too. So that's it really for tonight, Late Night Grace. I'm going to do another one pretty shortly after this, which will be later in the week. And it'll be bringing everything together. I am writing a book on depression at the moment, which I hope to have out there soon. Let that help you. Meditate on some scriptures today. Meditate on those scriptures I told you about, where Jesus touched people. Matthew 9, Mark 5, Luke 8. That's the woman with the issue of blood. And then the leper is Mark 1, Matthew 8, Luke 5. All those. And you can meditate on them and think about them and how Jesus has touched you. And how has he touched you? 2,000 years ago, in the garden, he went through depression, utter depression. He had a breakdown for you. He sweated blood for you. He carried a burden to the cross for you. Look to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. Then look to yourself and see that you've been forgiven. This is for believers. You have been forgiven. You have been set free. And that is it. Jesus has done that for you. So this week, read Matthew 9, Mark 5, Luke 8, or Mark 1, Luke 5, Matthew 8. Any of those regarding the leper and the woman with the issue of blood. You can look at the verses. Okay, and that's it for this week. And that's your to-do list. Just read, just focus on those things, and we'll move forward next time talking about how we can deal with these things and overcome them and be healed of them. I've been healed of my depression. You can be too. I'll show you how next time in Late Night Grace. See you on the flip side. God bless you now.